Let's see what's going on.
Well, national security is in focus this morning after the Home Affairs Department confirmed it knew for months that a group of so-called ISIS brides were returning to Australia.
The federal government didn't repatriate the group who smuggled themselves out of Syria. To discuss, opposition leader Susan Lee joined.
That's not true. She's just made a statement that is not conclusive. It seems that the government has helped them. So she's just saying whatever suits her agenda.
Joins us live now from Canberra. Susan, good morning to you. So the Home Affairs Minister says this group is being monitored. Would you have had any more power to do something different here?
The Home Affairs Minister and the Prime Minister have given several different answers, and what we want is the truth. Did they know that this group was being repatriated, and what assistance did the federal government provide? Because when I asked the Prime Minister these questions at the last parliamentary sitting, he completely said nothing to see here and nothing was being done. But Sarah, passports and citizenship papers don't just invent themselves. So clearly the government had a hand in the return of these individuals.
So what would you have done differently?
Prevented them from returning to Australia, worked hard.
See the presenter's face? She's made a statement that's just been contradicted by the leader of the opposition. That's why you've got to listen very carefully to what these journalists say. She's just been caught out.
Harder to make sure that we did not allow them back.
Can you legally do that with Australian citizens?
Well, I can't see any evidence, Carl, that the government has tried to do that.
Yes, you can do that if they're associated with terrorism activities, which they clearly were. Yes, you can do that.
And that's what the problem is here. And accompanying that is a failure to reassure Australians of community safety. This is not some romance that went wrong. This is a group of individuals who willingly left this country, in itself breaking the law to go and join ISIL, a death cult that had at its heart the destruction of our way of life and our society. And
which is something that the government, the Albanese government, has not even entertained, because it proves them to be accessories to the fact, to terrorism.
If we cast our minds back to Islamic State at its height and the security threat that was talked about here in this country, do we really want these individuals just let back in? And why can't the government answer questions about how much it's costing, whether they're being monitored, whether they're being rearrested, what is going on? Why all the cover-up?
Because I'll tell you why all the cover-up. All the cover-up is because it makes the Albanese government accessories to the fact of associating themselves with terrorism.
Albonese government have declined to confirm basic details about the return of so-called ISIS brides who are right now in Australia. Labor Senator Tim Ayres and Independent MP Di Lee join us now to discuss. Good morning, guys. Thanks for your time this morning. So, Tim, the government finally admitted they were back here. Do we know how many and where they are exactly?
Well, the security agencies certainly do, and the responsible ministers engaged in this in the way that he should be. That is the information that is revealed is consistent with the.
How do you feel about them coming back personally?
Well, these people have travelled to a war zone, and you know, it's a pretty. You know, I think most Australians would regard that as a problem for.
It's a problem because they've associated themselves with terrorist activities. So anybody connected with these people or encouraging them to live in their country, whether they're Australian citizens or not, they abandoned their Australian citizenship when they went to associate themselves with the terrorist organisation. So this guy knows that if the Albanese government is in any way seen to have associated themselves with these ISIS brides, they're accessories to the fact, to terrorism. They're associating themselves with accommodating terrorists back into the country.
Like a behaviour that is That's not certainly the government's advice to people has been do not travel to these areas. These people have travelled to them. They've lived there.
But then you welcome them back. I mean, I think
that's certainly not true, Carl. That's certainly not true. The government's
it is true because they've not just welcomed them back, they've helped them to come back.
How are they allowed back?
Yeah. Well, the government's provided no assistance at all.
How do they get into the country?
To these people? Well, these people have...
See, that's not true either. The government has provided them no assistance at all. That has not been concluded yet. It seems to the contrary.
Found their own way back.
And you can't do anything about it.
Well, it's not open to, you know, the government's made a choice here to not provide assistance.
They have provided assistance in allowing them to come back. You've got to remember, just standard Israeli spokespeople and stuff have been banned from the country just simply because they're Jewish. These people have practiced and associated themselves and have supported, physically and mentally supported themselves with the terrorist organisation. And the government has assisted them, whether it be solely on the basis that they haven't tried to stop them from coming back relative to the fact that they left their country against the law to support terrorism. So this guy's now lying.
I think voices out there saying that the government should provide assistance. We have taken the approach as a government not to provide assistance, and the job of our security agencies in relation to these people, but also other people who they make an assessment about themselves, is to make sure that we're keeping Australians safe. Now that's where the government, we have to act in a way that is consistent with the government's obligations here, in particular to Australian people, and that's what we're doing. We've got confidence in our...
Okay, so there's no consistency whatsoever. None. What they've done now is set the bar in saying, the Albanese government has set the bar in saying that if you're associated with terrorist organisations on the ground in other countries, supporting them or in some way contributing to their actions, they've set the bar in saying that you're welcome back into Australia. And that's all there is to it. So there's a underlying fanatical, radical, core activist element to this government, because they keep bending towards the Middle Eastern, negative Middle Eastern group of people.
Security agencies are doing that work.
Tim, if someone chooses to go overseas and their family fights for ISIS, potentially killing Aussies in a terror attack or killing Aussie soldiers, they should have their passports torn up. Di, what do you think about that?
We don't have enough time, obviously, to talk about this, Carl. But can I just point out a few things? Basically, I don't buy the line that there's no assistance. I don't know what the minister is talking about, their assistance. But the issue that I raise here is that, first of all, I have Australian citizens in my electorate of Fowler, which is, I'm the most multicultural electorate in the country that have large population of Assyrian communities, Chaldean communities, Mandaean communities, Hasidic communities. These communities fled the ISIS regime, fled them. And so therefore, if there's no transparency about where they're being resettled, and I asked for a guarantee yesterday that they're not going to be resettled in my area of Fowler, that question was ducked, so therefore, to me, there's no guarantee. But the issue here is, as you pointed out, Carl, these are Australian citizens who chose to go over and accompany those who fought as ISIS fighters. So that's one thing. If somebody have chosen to join Nazi and fight? Like, do we accept them back? So that's another question. I understand the organisations and individuals who want to bring women and children back. I understand it completely, and I respect that. But the thing is, the road to hell is always paved with good intentions. We have not been there. Us Australians have not fought with ISIS. So therefore, we don't understand the trauma that ISIS have left with many of our residents in Fowler. They understand ISIS better than we do.
Right. So Tim,
so they understand ISIS better than we do.
Where's the deterrent? What message does it send to the public if someone decides, you know what, I'm going to go over and fight for a terror organisation, potentially against Aussies or Aussie soldiers. I'm going to take my family with me. But you're sending a message, it's okay because your family can come home. Nothing to see here. I mean, come on.
Well, I agree with almost everything Di has said there except one thing, and that is it's the responsibility of the security agencies to make sure that Australians are safe.
But they're not doing that. The government has the authority to say, hang on a sec, you've abandoned your Australian rights by going to support a barbarous, murderous terrorist organisation that could kill Australians if Australians over there in the wrong place, and anybody else for that matter, which is what their intentions are. The government has every right to say, I'm sorry, but your citizenship is revoked, finished. You made your choice, you chose evil, we don't need you in our country. This guy's weak. He's very, very weak.
I agree. People who have gone to fight in this area of the world, ISIS, an evil organisation, a terrorist organisation that's done untold damage in that part of the world. We've got no truck with these people, and that is why there has been no assistance. Australians have made a choice to go and do this. It's the wrong choice.
They have given assistance one way or another because they're facilitating them to come back. This guy is just rambling nonsense, rubbish.
It is absolutely unacceptable. But our job right now is to manage security.
Is to make sure they don't come back. And that's how security is managed. They're a threat.
And that is what will happen, and that is what has been
just quickly done. No. Because I mean, I don't know how.
I just want to guarantee. Yeah. I just want to guarantee that they're not going to be settled in Fowler. I just want to guarantee. I want the government to be transparent about this. Just being transparent to the people, right? We need to trust the government is doing the right thing.
All right.
We don't know the future. We can't predict the future, and we can understand the security. They're going to do all they can.
Further to that. Will you let Australians know, Tim?
Well, transparency is not. I mean, security agencies operate in a careful way, and they don't necessarily publish through the Parliament or on television how it is that they are managing security challenges. I think that's common sense.
That's nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
That's what Australians would expect.
So you can't guarantee that they're not going to be settled in Fowler?
They are doing that work in a careful way in the Australian national interest. They'll keep doing it. I've got confidence in our security agencies doing their job.
I've got to take my hat off to Di Lee. She doesn't want these people. If you're going to let them in the country, that's on you, she's saying. But she's saying, don't let them in my community. Got to take my hat off to this woman. She's pretty good, Di Lee.
The government does. We support our security agencies, and we are going to get on with the job in the national interest here.
I don't know.
No, he's talking. He is just talking through the hole in his pants. This bloke, you couldn't trust this bloke as far as you could kick him. I'm sorry. We're talking about the safety of the communities into which these people will be sent.
I don't know how, in any way, shape or form, it's in the national interest to allow anyone who's associated with anyone going to fight for ISIS back in the country.
Well, we'd rather they didn't go.
And you've got to take your hat off to Carl. What a tremendous interview. Good on you, Carl.
And we'd rather, as you can see, that they didn't return because we've provided no support for that activity.
No, but they haven't provided any security in the sense of stopping them from coming back. This guy's just going around in circles.
We've got to deal with the situation that we have in front of us, and we're working through it in a careful way.
Any more coming back?
Well, we will not be assisting anybody to return.
Okay.
And we won't be stopping them from returning either. That's a weak, horrible, hands tied, we're not going to be responsible attitude. They've got no respect or regard for the Australian people. This is just the only way you could explain it is that within the fundamental values of the Albanese government, there is a deep, radical, fanatical, career political activism towards Islamic, jihadi, anti-Semitism, anti-human rights, that they just allow this stuff to happen. It's disgraceful. You let me know what you think in the comments, but it's obvious that there's definitely something fundamentally wrong with the Albanese government relative to the evils and their acceptance of the evils from the Middle Eastern lands and people.